Hello everybody and welcome to the table. Today we are checking out a knife from Boker Plus. So this right here is one of their Kalashnikov models, and we can see right there, this one is the Boker Plus Kalashnikov box cutter edition basically. So what we have here is the standard Boker Kalashnikov design, but instead of your traditional blade, what we have here is an automatic side opening box cutter or utility blade knife. So we can see the utility blade installed right here. And of course the holder right here has an easy change button. And we get the classic Kalashnikov handle right here with the aluminum grips, as well as a deep carry pocket clip option. So in terms of the action, you simply just press the button and the blade flies right out of hand. So this is kind of a cool addition to the lineup because the Kalashnikovs have been around for a while. They are a very popular design, a lot of different variations, and this is simply one of the latest ones. I do believe this particular variant of the Kalashnikov is going to be an exclusive to Blade Ops. That is where I picked this one up for, and it retails for about $65. So for that price, what are we getting here? Again, we're getting the automatic action with the push button on here. In terms of lockup, it is very solid, no blade play at all. Of course, it will function perfectly fine as a box cutter, but we also get one additional kind of a cool feature here on the blade holder. You'll notice right here on the side, there or near the bottom right here, there is a strap cutter. So that could be used to cut some paracord. So actually, we'll try that in a few minutes. But let's go ahead and look at the specs. And so in terms of overall length, what are we looking at right here? Put it on the ruler. Overall length, we're looking at about 7¼ inches long. And of course, we get about 1.5 inches of that utility blade exposed. And so every utility knife is going to have a varying amount of blade available to you. And this one, we get about 1.5 inches of cutting edge as an option. Let's go ahead and check out the weight on this knife. It doesn't feel too heavy in hand. It's aluminum construction. And I imagine the holder here is all steel. So what we're getting it for weight is 4.29 ounces. So almost 4.3 ounces. So not a super heavyweight knife by any means. But again, we get that nice snappy action. We get some nice jimping here on the handle. The actual blade holder is smooth on the top, but the frame of the knife does have some nice grip for your hands, the grooves for your fingers. If that's a thing that you like, you're going to like this knife right here. And changing the blade out is quite easy. We have a little button right here, and you just hold down the button, pull the blade out, and it's that easy. So while we have the blade out, it came with a Stanley blade, you can see right there. I'm going to check because we have these blades from Cobalt. These are a favorite of mine, these concave hook blades. And they're not compatible with every utility knife out there just because of the pattern on the holder there. Let's see if it works with the Kalashnikov. So let's slide that in, lock that into place. So it is locked in. It appears to be compatible. Let's go ahead and see if it fits in the handle. Handle-wise, that looks good. Fits in there fine. Yeah, perfect. So this is definitely going to be compatible with the hook blades, and so that's kind of a cool thing too. I love all of the kind of the boutique utility blades you can buy nowadays. A lot of different shapes, colors, styles. So that's kind of a cool thing. So we have the utility blade right there. Let's get this original one back in. That easy. Just reinstall it. You can feel it's nice and tight. No play with the blade in the handle. But again, let's take a closer look right here. We can see the markings on there. Automatic Kalashnikov 74, and all of the Boker Kalashnikovs have these same markings on there with the Boker Plus logo. Reverse side right here, we just have a serial number. And Boker does this with a lot of their knives. They will serialize the blade so you can see which number yours is in the run. So this is going to be a 385. Out of how many, who knows how many of these they're going to make. I imagine they'll make them as long as they're profitable. But let's go ahead and take a close look at that strap cutter right there. I do appreciate they included something on this utility knife besides the actual cutting blade. I do question the utility of a strap cutter because, of course, you do have the utility blade, so why wouldn't you just use that? But who am I to question Boker in all of their wisdom, of course. But let's get some paracord out on the table. Let's see how it does in cutting. So we have the paracord in there, working it back and forth, and it does cut. Of course, it took a lot of force to actually make that cut, so it's not super sharp. Let's do the same thing with the utility blade. and see if it's any easier. Oh yeah, so the utility blade cuts very well, as you would expect. The strap cutter, though, does require a little bit more effort to work that in. So you can see that right there. That took a little bit more effort. So I do appreciate they included the tool. Its usefulness will vary, of course, depending on what you need this knife for. But it is cool that it is there. And that's, again, one of the reasons kind of why I wanted to pick this one up, just for the differences between this and all of the other utility knives, box cutters that you have on the market. But let's make some comparisons with this knife, because I do have some other Kalashnikovs, and we can do some size comparisons, I suppose. So let's set this one down right here, middle of the screen. We also have right here, this is the Boker sub Kalashnikov, so you can see how tiny it is. Boom. And so this is a California legal version of the Kalashnikov because the blade is less than 2 inches. And of course, I suppose you could say this is also California legal because the blade is less than 2 inches on a utility knife, right? So we can see the comparison there. Let's set them side by side. So there we go. You can see the size difference. And I also have a kind of an interesting one here on the table. So this one right here is a full-size handle, but I decided to do a blade swap. I took the stubby blade right here from another one of the California legal models, and I put it on the full-size handle. So we can see we have a full-size green aluminum handle, but with the California legal mini blade. So let's set those there as well, and you can just see kind of the size difference. And for, I suppose, some giggles, we have this one right here. I actually really do like this variant of the knife. We have these really nice blue aluminum scales, and this one is this wicked talon-shaped blade. This particular one is actually a Nut and Fancy limited release, so it has the TNP markings on there. Kind of cool. I bought it more as a collectible than anything because this is probably the most impractical blade you could carry for, EDC purposes at least. Self-defense, sure, this thing's probably going to scream through flesh, but who does that really? I don't do that. So put those side by side here. Check that out. And where things get a little interesting here is when we flip this knife over. So let's flip them all over and make some more comparisons. So take a look at the pocket clips on these knives. So even though these are all the same essential pattern, Boker, Kalashnikov, the pocket clips have varied over the years. Because we have down here on this full-size handle, check out this wonky pocket clip. Look at the curves. It looks like a sea snake or a serpent or something. It's super deep carry. It carries fine, but look at what's sticking out of your pocket. You have these wiggles and squiggles, and it's just big. It's unwieldy. This is a weird pocket clip. I admit that. And on the TNP version of the knife, they actually simplified it. No wiggles. It's just a nice little dip like any other deep carry pocket clip. Much improved. On the sub Kalashnikov, they kind of compromised and did a little bit of wiggles, but it's still a short pocket clip because the knife itself is so small. And of course, on this newest variant of the knife, the box cutter, we can see the pocket clip is more based on this TNP variant down here. So you can see it's a nice simple design, no wiggles. It just has the one dip like any standard deep carry pocket clip. And so it's nice to see that they are reusing this style of clip because it looks better. It functions just as well as these other clips on the table, but it looks a lot better. It looks a lot more professional. It doesn't look like this little sea snake down here. So it's kind of cool to see them doing that. And I will say, of course, this pocket clip doesn't appear to be reversible on any of these knives. We can see that if you wanted to take the clip off, you can use a T6 Torx bit, and that will fit in there to take off the clip if you like. But when you look at the handle here, there is no cutout on the left-hand side for a reversible clip. So sorry, lefties, this is a right-hand carry tip-up knife only, and it is that definitely by design. That was on purpose. So in terms of action, we can see you press the button, blade flies out, and I will say, out of all the knives here on the table, the box cutter variant, this one seems to have the weakest spring action. And it could be because this mechanism, this blade holder, is the heaviest of them all. So maybe that's why. But we can see, for instance, on the smallest blade, it's super snappy. You press that button, that blade snaps right out. No delay. It's just super responsive. On the TNP variant here with this longer blade, same thing. It just flies out of the handle. That spring is more than adequate to do the job. it just flings out. Very nice feeling. Again, with this little one right here, same thing. Comes out quick, easy, no problem. You can see the speed. And now with the box cutter, there's some weight to it, right? So you press it, and you can kind of tell it's a little bit slower, even on camera. It's a little bit slower. It's functional, no issues with that. It's going to work totally fine as a usable utility knife, a usable box cutter. But in comparison, I will say the automatic action on this one is a little bit more sluggish. And again, is that by design? Maybe, probably not on purpose. I bet they use the same spring, but this mechanism here, this holder, is probably just heavier. And so it requires a little bit more force to get out there. So just a thing to notice. But I think if you like utility knives, if you like having the idea of an automatic side opening box cutter, this is for you. It's a really cool design. It's classic. You know, you may not be a fan of the whole, AK-47 theming here, like the box. You can see it's that, very magazine shaped box right there, and the Kalashnikov lettering on there. Maybe that's a little over the top for some, but I think if you enjoy these type of knives, you're not going to mind. But if you have any questions about the Kalashnikov here, feel free to drop a comment below. I think it's a pretty solid knife. No reason not to pick one up if you are a fan of utility blades / box cutters. And that seems to be one of the newest trends in the everyday carry world. We're seeing a lot of companies release knives that use utility blades, and it's kind of become almost a fashionable thing at this point. But this one right here is from Boker Plus, $65 at Blade Ops. I think, again, it's an exclusive there, so you may not see it anywhere else, and I think it's worth your time. But again, drop any comments below. Hope to hear from you soon, and I hope y'all have a knife day. See you later. Bye-bye.